there is a possibility that the stock can go into a corrective mode. But then I think it's a very strong and a quality name. The stock did exceptionally well when the entire metals, metal story or the metal stocks, they were going through a very strong revival phase. So it's possible that after a phase of correction, the stock can also make a strong revival for itself. Possibly, if the correction starts off on Nalco, I believe the stock can head towards maybe sub 90 levels over the near term. So if you're looking to average, then I believe wait patiently below 90 levels. If the stock happens to correct below that level, that could be a good opportunity where you can start accumulating further.
Right. Just note for our viewers who are logged into YouTube, we were facing some technical issues, but we are live right now on YouTube. So do post your queries on the YouTube page as well. Let's get on board our first query then from the YouTube, and this one is from Marion Portman saying, how is Ipca Labs fundamentally can I buy at current market price for the next 5 to 6 years? What's your take, Ashish? Ipca Labs looks good. Fundamentally a strong company. If Marion wants to invest, makes sense to invest at current market price for the longer term or for 5 to 6 years to be precise?
Yes, I think from highs it has already corrected quite a bit. But pharma sector has not performed in short term, but over a period of time, companies like Lupin, in my view, will keep on giving good growth. But only thing is, as the valuation of these all pharma companies have already peaked in shorter term. So what I'll suggest, instead of buying at 2050 levels, if you can just keep your purchases a staggered manner where on every 50 rupee fall, you can accumulate these stocks because the at present given point of time, valuations have already captured next 2 years earnings. So my suggestion will be 2050, 2019, 50, 1900. You stagger your purchase and then continue to hold.
Okay, so I will take this, Ravi. This is a question, Kunal, for you. He says that he bought Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail at levels of 300, and this is based on a recommendation that you had given on the show. It's now at 280. He's wondering what to do and whether or not you have changed your view on the stock. And I'm telling him on chat as well that this is not how things work and you need to study it on an ongoing basis. But what advice would you give to him on this particular trade?
ABFRL, since the time the stock was at 220, 225, so it's possible that it could be one of the ongoing recommendations, even at higher levels. But the idea and the thought with ABFRL is still that it's not a stock which is more of a short term kind of a trending name. It's a stock which has done exceptionally well. In fact, there was this phase where ABFRL managed to outperform many of its other peers like Trend, Shoppers Stop, etc. By a huge margin. So I'm expecting that the same sense of outperformance would probably continue, and we have to give respect to the markets at the end of the day as well. If markets are into a corrective phase and there is any kind of volatility which comes by, it's possible that many of these stocks as well could go into a correction zone. So we have to accept corrections along the way as well. ABFRL, I still believe that the stock holds very good trends prospects for itself for the medium to long term, and still maintain the bullish stance on the stock.
This one is coming in from Chaitanya, and Chaitanya wants advice on two stocks that he can actually add in his portfolio given the market pause or correction that we are seeing. He wants it for the medium to long term. So Ashish, which would be those two stocks that you would advise Chaitanya to look at given the market condition right now?
Yes, I think such times are should be used to accumulate good quality stocks post correction. So one large cap and one mid cap stock I can suggest, and both are from Tata Group. And my Tata Group stock will continue to do well in next few years down the line also. So my large cap pick is going to be Tata Power. In my view, in all correction, we should add this stock because the kind of attraction they are getting in solar energy as well as EV business. I think Tata Power is always a good bet, and next 3 years I see price doubling from here. Another stock in mid-cap space I like from Tata Group is TTML, Tata Teleservices Maharashtra Limited. This is priced at 80 rupees. And in my view, this has again got good potential to even double in next 3 years because they have changed their focus towards all new generation communication platforms. And we are going to see every quarter good set of numbers coming from Tata Teleservices Maharashtra also. So TTML and Tata Power you can safely buy for medium to long.
Okay, we've got a question coming from Suresh Vasudev. This one's for you, Kunal. The question is on Loris Laboratories. Need to understand the short-term view on the stock is what he's saying. He's making a loss. He has gotten at levels of 650 and it's currently trading, if I'm not mistaken, closer to 475. What should he do with this trade?
Possible that Loris Laboratories and many of these other laboratory stocks, these stocks are diagnostic stocks. These stocks are forming some sort of a arresting of fall kind of a pattern. So the fall which was being very very obvious into these kind of names, the kind of fall in the sell off is getting arrested. These stocks are getting into a time wise correction. Now, for example, Loris Labs, I think if I'm not wrong, start of this week, Monday, the stock had a strong single day uptick, and then the subsequent 3 days, it's seen a very mild kind of a downtick for itself, which means that the force of buying has been quite strong, but the force of retracement or follow through is still not there for the stock price, and which is why I believe that you have to be patient for these kind of stocks to try and play out their entire trend for themselves. If there is even a minor mean reversion, which could probably happen for Loris Laboratories, the stock can come back towards its 200 moving average. That would be closer to 550 from current levels. So I would suggest a hold and let the pattern play out. Maybe over the next 1 to 3 months, you could probably see the stock coming back towards 550, 600 levels. That's where you can probably reassess your investments over here.
Actually, a similar question on Loris Laboratories was from Harsh. Ashish, quickly, a quick take on this one. Do you think that Harsh should look to buy Loris Laboratories at current market price for the next 3 to 5 years? Does it make sense for him to enter?
Yes, if you see, stock already has corrected quite a bit from high of 720. Now stock is at 475. So decent profit taking has already taken place in the stock, and they are the ones. One of the company which are into the highest ANDA, they have already filed it for the US markets, etc. As well as the kind of intermediaries they are making. Profitability wise, there is no doubt. Only thing is, in last couple of years, as I was sharing earlier, also pharma stocks have shown a price earning multiple of 50 and above, and which are not sustainable. So for shorter term, I am bearish on pharma as well as chemicals because valuations are quite rich. That is why a lot of liquidation is happening. But surely at 450, 425 levels, there is no brainer to accumulate Loris Lab for a longer term perspective. In my view, they will continue to grow because whatever the capex was there, Loris has already done. So from here, we are going to see good set of numbers. So any further downside should be used to accumulate the stock, but for a longer run.
Okay. Hindalco is the next counter that I want to focus on. Kunal, this one's for you. We've got Sunil, who's gotten at levels of 542. The stock is currently at 445. He can hold for the next 6 months, he's saying. Should he do so?
Well, I believe up to that, I think, of course, yes, you bought at a much higher price for Hindalco. And I think without keeping a trailing stop loss as such, I think it's now become a risky investment as such for the stock. Also, as I mentioned earlier, for the metal names and Vedanta, etc., that it's possible that many of these metal stocks, they can go through a further drag, they can go through a further corrective mode because these stocks have not completed their complete mean reversion process. So, for example, Hindalco is still significantly above its 200-day moving average. That level is closer to 400 from current levels, which means that there could be a possible downside of maybe another 40 to 45 rupees for Hindalco if the correction in the market also extends a bit more further. So I think in that sense, it's possible that the stock may correct a bit more further. If you're looking to average, I would suggest wait out and whenever the stock tries to come closer to its 200 moving average, that could be nap time where you can look to average out further for Hindalco and then position yourself from a longer term view.
From Soumitra, and I know Ashish, we just spoke about pharma sector stock, but he wants insight on Gland Pharma, and he knows whether it can be actually bought at current levels. How does Gland Pharma look like? Should Soumitra look to buy it?
This again a stock has already corrected by almost 1,000 rupees from 50 to reach high, which is huge in my view. And I again of the same view that pharma stock will continue to see some more correction because of rich valuation. So my suggestion will be Gland Pharma will be always a good buy to buy at around 3,000 rupees level. Uh, because first of all, fundamentally, like continuously, they are reporting a profit of 300 crore plus trajectory. But as stock moved too fast from 2,600 to 4,300, so some consolidation is bound to happen. But 3,000 is a price I would like to enter it then.
You, Ashish, I think the flavor of the day that a lot of our viewers want to know about is indeed the broader pharmaceutical space. We've got Avantika was asking about Aarti Drugs, which she bought at levels of 500, and the stock has given up quite a bit of ground over the last 6 months, as much as nearly 30%. It's now trading at 535. Would you suggest that she can hold on? She can hold, she says, for at least 2 to 3 years.
Okay, this is Aarti Industries, Aarti Drugs we are talking about.
She's talking about Aarti Drugs, bought at levels of 500.
Oh, Aarti. Okay. So this is again a stock again in pharma sector, which is as such 52-week low now. So this is the problem. So because all these stocks moved because of stoppage of production in China and all those factors. But now again, China has resumed production as well as the prices of bulk drugs, which were hitting all-time high. They have also started to correct. So this is the reason we are seeing prices of these pharma and chemical coming down. So my suggestion will be to exit from this stock and look at instead of this some NBFCs or banking stocks which can give you better returns. Also,
I think we've got a little bit patchy line on for Ashish. We'll connect him again in a bit. Let me take this one to you, Kunal. Definitely Paytm, the big blockbuster IPO, the big blockbuster listing that everybody has been talking about, but the listing was not as blockbuster as we expected it to be. Sagar wants an intraday view on Paytm. I'm unsure whether you will have one, but nevertheless, let me try it out. If not, then I will ask another one. He's saying he shorted cash 10,000 shares at 1900 levels, booked some profit at 1624 levels. Should I book all the profits or hold for more downside? So, Kunal, do you track Paytm, given that it's a very, very recently new kid on the block, like few hours old? So, do you have a view on it? Otherwise, I can ask you another one.
Not at all, Cheryl. Just not even a full 6 hours of intraday history for the stock. So, of course, won't be able to comment.
No problem. Nevertheless, Sagar was just trying his luck. He's told me to ask you another query. Otherwise, he's saying that he bought a Page Industries at 20,000 rupees per share. Can the stock reach 50,000 rupees per share in the near term? I'm sure that every time Sagar asks a question, he's throwing a googly at you. Do you see that happening anytime soon for Page Industries, or it'll take much longer than that for it to reach 50,000 levels?
So I think there are many aspects to it. One of them, Cheryl, of course, is that this quarter so far for Page Industries and such other stocks like Lux Industries, Dollar, etc. These stocks have seen a very strong uptick this last couple of months specifically. So I think if I'm not wrong, Page is up some 28-29%. So far this quarter. And possibly is that the stock can continue to move up on an upward trending mode given the kind of momentum we've seen. The only concerning point when I look at the charts is the lack of volumes. Now, the stock on price terms, of course, has given all kinds of breakouts, but the participation levels have dropped significantly for Page Industries. See, as it is, it's a stock which has been traded generally by typically the HNIs and the ultra HNIs. Retail investors and individual investors, they typically don't tend to enter these high price stocks. So, which is why studying the volume patterns becomes very, very important into these kind of names. As of now, the volumes are a bit dismal than what one could probably have anticipated for Page Industries. But then the volumes pick up, and assuming if the stock gets into a sideways correction, and then the volumes intensify or increase for Page Industries, which means that there is a stronger accumulation which is happening even at higher levels. That could probably boost up the prices going forward. So I would probably wait and watch on Page Industries as of now. If the volumes increase higher, then we can expect a much stronger uptick going forward as well.
Okay, we've got to interrupt the query segment because there is a piece of information that's coming in. Hindustan Zinc in focus after the Apex Court has allowed the government of India to divest its stake in the company. Abhimanyu Sharma is joining in with that latest update from the Supreme Court. Abhimanyu, what are you picking up?
The Supreme Court has allowed the union government to further disinvest its 29.5% stake in Hindustan Zinc Limited. Also, CBI has been asked to register a case and probe the disinvestment of 26% shares of the company in 2002. The court noted that the case is different from oil PSUs since the company was not government owned when the stake sale was contested before the Apex Court. CBI, meanwhile, has been asked to probe the company's takeover as well as the allegations of undervaluation and irregularities in the bid process. CBI has also been asked to file regular status reports before the court. In January 2016, the Apex Court had ordered a status quo on Hindustan Zinc's shareholding pattern, and the court order had effectively stalled the government's plan to proceed with the residual stake sale in the company. In 2014, an employee union, National Confederation of Officers Association, had moved the Apex Court, claiming that Sterlite Industries, that is a part of Vedanta, had picked up a majority stake in the PSU at an undervalued price, claiming that Vedanta's action had resulted in losses of hundreds of crores to the exchequer.
Okay, the next question is coming in from, thanks so much for that, Abhimanyu, for that update. The next question is coming in from Manohar from Andhra Pradesh. He's holding 100 shares of NMDC, which he bought at 145. Kunal, this is the last stock that we're talking about. What should he do with this trade?
Well, again, I would sense very similar to what I mentioned for Nalco. Possibly the stock can get into a more of a sideways to mild price correction going forward. But I think it's again one of the few stocks which has done pretty well for itself when the entire commodity / metal stocks or the rally was going on. So it's possible that maybe for another couple of months these stocks can lie a bit low, get into a downward drift. So I think if you can accumulate further, assuming if the stock comes say closer to 125, 130 range, that could be a good level where you can look to average and buy it further.
All right, and with that, we actually come to an end of the query segment. Thank you, Kunal, as well as Ashish, for joining us on the show and giving us your take on Vedanta, what exactly the move means for investors, what should they do, as well as for resolving the viewer queries. And on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But stay tuned, there's more on the other side, so don't go anywhere.